Hello everyone, welcome back to the Odds Now YouTube channel for your Friday rundown ahead of the action at the PDC World Championship. Now I'm filming this just before the action kicks off on Thursday night, so I'm presuming Luke Littler hasn't been knocked out as I record this, who knows. Yeah, hopefully that's been a good night's action. I had a couple of bets that I put up yesterday. I don't know how they've performed at the time of recording. Hopefully we've had a winner. But anyway, Friday brings us the first full day of action, so we have an afternoon and an evening session to look forward to here. So I'm going to be a little bit more succinct than yesterday with my match breakdowns, but just wanted to run through each game and sort of give my thoughts and opinions on them. Thanks for everyone who watched yesterday's videos, and yeah, do let me know in the comments if you're backing anything yourself. Okay, first game of Friday then is Niels Zonneveld versus Haupai Puha. Zonneveld very, very warm order here at 1-3. Puha out to 5-2 with a few bucks. And I am going to back Puha here as the underdog, just a straight win bet on Haupai Puha at 5-2. I like this matchup for him, to be honest. Niels Zonneveld has had a very good year on the floor. Really, really solid. Actually made a Pro Tour final. Probably should have won it. Was 6-4 up on Sebastian Białowieski, both surprise finalists in that week. Pro Tour we had in the middle of the season in Hildesheim when loads of the big names missed it. Opportunity knocked, and it was Białowieski that won it. But Zonneveld was really, really good that day, and he's very consistent on the floor. Made a lot of quarterfinals in the last 16s. I think 8 quarterfinals from 34 events this year. Impressive, and that's why he's a short favourite here. But his big stage form, to me, still leaves a little bit to be desired. I think he's only got one win at the Worlds in all his attempts thus far, and that was over Darren Webster last year, and I think he averaged about 79. It wasn't pretty. So I think Zonneveld's still got a little bit of learning to do on the big stage. He's quite an unorthodox thrower, and whether that holds quite holds up to the big stage, who knows. Puha might not look spectacular in terms of an opponent, but I think actually he's probably better than his bare results suggest. He's going to lose his tour card, barring a miraculous run here. I hope that he stays in the UK and tries to get it back, because to me he's a player with a bit of ability. Moving from New Zealand to the UK is a big, big move in your life. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if he just, has needed a bit of time to settle and it hasn't really tied in with him playing his best darts. If you look at there's a bit of big stage form for Puha that encourages me, and that's the World Series. Because he's the New Zealand #1, he gets to play on all of those Australasian World Series events year in, year out for the last 2 or 3 years. And this year, although he lost both his first round games, he played Littler and Humphreys, and he made a game of it against both. He lost 6-3 to Humphreys, 6-5 to Littler, and averaging the high 80s both times. Now, I think a replication of that level would give Zonneveld problems based on everything we've seen from Zonneveld at Ali Pali. And this is going to be a big test of Zonneveld as to whether he really has kicked on, or whether he's still just that decent, consistent floor player that maybe doesn't have it at the big stage just yet. Anyway, I know one thing. I wouldn't want to be taking Zonneveld at 1-3. He can win it 3-0 for all I care. I've got no interest in backing him at that price. Questions to answer at Ali Pali for Zonneveld. And yeah, I think Puha will just give a solid showing of himself. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't nick a set or two, and I think at 5-2 you can pay to find out if he can win it. So yeah, upsetting round in game 1 for me. Second game of the day, looking forward to this one. Anyone who watched the World Championship preview or has watched my videos previously will know I'm a big Mervyn King fan. Great to see the King back at the Palace. He's had to come through the Challenge Tour to get back here. Obviously lost his tour card at the end of last year. Sad moment for me. But fair play to Merv. He's played on, possibly because he owes about £500,000 in tax, but maybe just for the love of the game, who knows. I do think he still believes he's got a good game in him, and he's shown that at times this year, finishing 4th on the Challenge Tour. Really good performances on the final event to nick the spot off Mikel Unterbuchner. And I just think that this game will mean a lot to King. Possibly thought he wouldn't get back on the World Championship stage after losing his card. But here he is, and it's a winnable game against a fellow veteran in Ian White, someone he'll have played many, many times over the years. Ian White made a Pro Tour final back in March, followed it up with a semi-final, and you're thinking, good God, it's the old King of the Pro Tour back here. But it was a bit of a false dawn, unfortunately. It's been absolutely dreadful in the last few months. He's lost a huge amount of his matches since August. Loads of round 1 exits in there on the floor, nothing of note on the telly. I think he's very opposable, Ian White, particularly when you consider how much this game means to King, both financially and probably mentally as well. So I don't see anything between them here. If I was leaning one way, I would lean towards King, and that's taking bias out of it. So I am going to back Mervyn King to win this at 6-5 as well. On to the third game then, and Ryan Searle taking on Chris Landman. I see this as a comfortable win for Searle, to be honest. I mean, Searle, we all know he's got the ability to be a top 16 player. Probably should have won a few events more than he has done, particularly the Players' Championship final. Sticks in mind where he lost the last legger a few years ago. But the thing that's always held Searle back is sort of his drive and desire. He, by his own admission, doesn't practice that much. Probably said he doesn't have the hunger of the top players. to be winning week in, week out, which is worrying from an elite sportsman, really, in any field. A really nice guy, Searle, but it's hard to watch him sort of say that when he has the talent that he does. But maybe he's content with just ticking along as a top 32 player who wins the odd floor title. I don't know. He should have the beating of Chris Landman here. Landman, former WDF World Championship finalist, and has made a Pro Tour final as well, but not been a lot from him of note in the last couple of years. And I mean, he lost to Lok Leung here last year, who was a 6-1 outsider against him. So it's hard to get enthusiastic about Landman's prospects here. He'd need to play a lot better than we've seen for some time now to trouble Searle. Searle normally very reliable in these early rounds. He's played in 7 World Championships, Searle. He's never gone out earlier than round 3, and he's never gone any further than round 4. So you kind of know what you're going to get from Ryan Searle, and I'm expecting similar again this year, to be honest. But yeah, there's no real bet standing out and appealing to me. You respect Landman enough to say that he might nick a set. That Unibet price isn't there. All of their correct score prices are wrong. But 9-4 on the 3-0, yeah, it's about right. Yes, I could see so winning this 3-0. I wouldn't be that surprised if Landman wins a set. I'd be shocked if Landman beats him. So it's a no-bet game for me, this one, but expecting Ryan Searle to progress. Final game of the afternoon session is Rob Cross versus Cor Dekker. Another underdog I want to be with here, Cor Dekker, 9-4. I think I was going to want to be with whoever was playing Cross in round 1. He's just had an absolutely stinking year, hasn't he, Cross? So many first-round exits at majors. 7th out of 8 in the Premier League. Looks like he's fallen out of love with the game to me, to be honest. And it's understandable. He scaled the mountain so quickly, didn't he? Winning the World Championship in his first year as a Pro Tour player. Followed that up well in his second year, winning the match play and the likes. But it just feels like he's been battling to try and refine that best form for a long time now. And this year's been a real fall off. I mean, he's been really poor this year, Cross, by his own high standards. Loads of money coming for him, as you'd expect. I think these markets just largely people just looking at the quality of the two players, maybe form a little bit, but they're looking at Cross as a Premier League player here against Cor Dekker, who's never really done anything on the TV. But those who do follow darts will know that Cor Dekker's actually had a good first year on the Pro Tour circuit. It started terribly. I think he lost 17 of his first 21 Players' Championship events in the first round. Since then, he's done really well. A couple of deep runs on the floor, and he made a European Tour semi-final in Switzerland a couple of months ago. And Dekker, if he can replicate anywhere near that level, will pose this version of Cross a problem. To me, this game is all on the first set. If Cross loses it, he's going to get embroiled, and all the negativity of the last few months could rear its head again. And equally, Dekker, I think he probably needs that first set to settle him in and to get that belief that he can actually win it. So we might know our fate with this bet quite quickly, but I'm happy to back Cor Dekker at 9-4. To be honest, the 9-4 to BetMGM, anything north of 2-1 is fine, in my opinion. You may get a drift on Dekker. I think money's going to come for Cross, and I'm comfortable with that. I know what I'm backing with Dekker. He needs things to go right for him, but happy to take Cross on over the short format. Into the evening session then, and now we have Ross Smith versus Andreas Harrysson. This is a no-bet match for me, but I still think I'm going to really enjoy watching it. Like, Ross Smith, he'll want to forget about last year. Lost 3-0 in round 1 to Paulo Nebrida. He was a 10s-on favourite, which was disrespectful to Nebrida, to be honest, who's a very capable operator, and he's back again here this year, hoping to do some more damage. But I don't think that'll get Ross down too much. I think it'll hurt at the time, but I've seen him speak afterwards, and he just kind of says it's just on the day. You have good days, you have bad days. Quite philosophical about it all. There's no doubt he's landed in the right section here for a run in that quarter 2, alongside Bunting and Clayton as the top seeds. So feels like a good chance for someone like a Ross Smith or a Dirk van Duijvenbode to have a run deep in this tournament. He's got to deal with Andreas Harrysson first, who's not the easiest first-round opponent, it should be said. The 10-3 on Harrysson, it is tempting. I can't lie, I'm not going to back it, but it is tempting. The big Swede, he's not got a tour card at the moment, but we've definitely seen what he can do. I mean, he won the Modus Super Series Champions Week really impressively, beat Cam Crabtree with a 1-2-1 finish in a deciding leg, and he was great all of that tournament. He's also appeared a couple of times on the European Tour, notably beating Gian van Veen 6-1 with 107 average in the middle of the season, which was a standout performance, but it just shows the levels he does have and the gears he does have. I could definitely see a world where Harrysson flies out the trap to make this a really interesting game, and that's why I'm not looking to get with Ross Smith in any kind of angles, even though I do think he will prevail, because I just have a lot of respect for Harrysson. So it's a case of having respect for both players, respect for Harrysson not to want to lightly oppose him, but also respect for Ross Smith in that if he turns up, he should be too good for Harrysson here. So it'll be an entertaining match. Harrisson's quite a bit of a showman as well. He likes a flashy finish. So I think this will be an enjoyable watch to start the evening, but it's a no bet for me. This could be a cracking game up next. Ricky Evans versus Man Lok Leung. Evans is a 2-on favourite. Lok Leung just under 2-1. Yeah, interesting. I think the prices are about right in the match betting. Ricky Evans, obviously, he's synonymous with the World Championship for his walk-ons and his sort of fun-loving style, a very likeable character. But I think Ricky's making good steps towards becoming a little bit less of a joke sideshow and more of a really solid player, which he is. And he's always had the ability, but he doesn't show it enough. He's had a great 2025, topped with a quarter-final run at the Grand Slam of Darts. I'd have been disappointed the way he went out to go in price. You know, spurned a lot of doubles in that match. I think he lost something like 16-8, 16-9 in the end. But no shame in that as well. Price played well, so it was just outclassed. But his run two there was really, really impressive, and I think he's growing in stature. Ricky Evans made round 3 last year, beating Dave Chisnell in an epic, and will have been disappointed to go out to Rob Owen in round 3, which was a big game for Rob Owen at the time. Needed to win to keep his tour card, so extenuating circumstances there. But I like Ricky Evans. I think he's trending upwards. This is a tough draw for him against Man Lok Leung, who has not. He wasn't at Ali Pali last year, but the year before, a lot of people will remember him. He played Gian van Veen in the first round and beat him 3-2 in an absolute epic. It was completely unfancied Lok Leung. I think he went off something like 14-1 to win the game. Hit 11 180s in 5 sets, so a very explosive player. I think he still struggles with consistency a little bit, which is probably why he didn't come through last year's Asian Tour to qualify again. But maybe he's just one of these players who the big stage brings the best out of him. We don't know. We've got a tiny sample size for Lok Leung. And yeah, it's a positive one, isn't it? If he can do what he did against Gian van Veen or anything near it, he's going to give Rick Evans a serious game here. And I do want to play this game on the 180s because Lok Leung, like I say, hit 11 in 5 sets last time he was here against Van Veen, who's a very respectable opponent. And Ricky Evans loves a maximum himself. So I think this game will be tight. I think it'll go, I don't think it'll be 3-0 either way. So that gives us 4 sets to work with. And therefore, I think the over 7.5 180s line at even money is very attractive. And you could even ladder that a little bit with 8.5 and 9.5. I think if these two get going and we get 4 or 5 sets, I can see that being covered. And I think even if one player has the off day, you have the out that the other one might be fully firing. These are both capable of over 4 or 5 sets. They're both capable of hitting 8, 9, 10 180s on a going day. So I'm happy to get with the overs line in this particular game. And I think it'll be a really good watch. Couple more matches then on the evening. Gian van Veen, I've mentioned him a few times in this video, takes on Cristo Reyes. Gian van Veen is third favourite for this World Championship. He's never won a game at Alexandra Palace, which is a remarkable stat. He's only had 2, in fairness. The first one was that one 2 years ago against Lok Leung, who I mentioned, freakishly good, won 3-2. Van Veen didn't play badly in that game. He just come up against a bit of a whirlwind. And then last year, again, Ricardo Pietrezco. That would have been more disappointing for Van Veen. I think he would have earmarked that as a win. But Pietrezco, again, a player that needs respect, does have a good level in him. So he's got to get that monkey off his back here. He's got Cristo Reyes. He's a 1-10 favourite to win this. Cristo Reyes, really interesting backstory here. A lot of people remember this name from yesteryear. Reyes was at 5 straight World Championships between 2015 and 2020. Might have been 6 straight, actually. And competed really well. He actually had the highest losing average for a short amount of time at the World Championship. I think he averaged 106 against Michael van Gerwen and went out. So he has a top level in him. Now, after 2020, after the pandemic, Cristo Reyes vanished from darts. Didn't even play in regional qualifiers. And apart from those who know him, to the wider world, it appeared that he just stepped away from the game. A couple of months ago, he posted a video of himself hitting a 9-darter in his bedroom. Got a little bit of buzz on social media. Oh, nice to see Cristo still knocking around. A couple of weeks later, turns up to the Mediterranean qualifier, wins it, averaging 97, 98, all these fancy averages. So I believe he's going to go for his tour card at European Q School again, and he'd be a really welcome re-addition to the tour because he's a very, very capable player on his day. Van Veen probably be rolling his eyes at this draw thinking, for goodness sake, I just want like an international qualifier that hasn't got loads of pedigree. But look, he's 10s on. He should win this, Van Veen. I'm not sure I'd be rushing to back the 3-0. I've actually backed myself over 3.5 sets at 4-1 when the draw came out. It's now 5-2. Would I rush to back it at 5-2? Probably not. But I do think there's a good chance that Reyes can nick a set, particularly if he replicates those levels we saw from him at the qualifier. So I kind of hope Van Veen gets through because it's just been bad luck for him in the last couple of years. And he really does deserve to have a run here. He's a marvellous player. Last game of Friday's action then is Damon Heta versus Steve Lennon. And I think this would be a game where few backing Steve Lennon. I'm not surprised getting the market up there for the first time that there's a sea of blue on Steve Lennon, because Damon Heta's getting himself a bit of a reputation, isn't he, as a big stage bottler. Is that too harsh? It's certainly a word many would use. I don't agree with this thesis. I'll put it out here and now. There's no doubt he's on a really bad run on the major stage. 5 first-round exits in the last 5 majors. But I think that's sort of the pressure is intensifying with every major he plays in at the minute. And I just feel for him. He's been unlucky in a couple of them. He's also thrown a couple of them away. And people are right to sort of point out that Heta is, it's got a weak TV record in recent times. It's there to be taken on the TV. I think that if Damon Heta wins a couple of games at this World Championship, as his draw allows him to do, then he'll be a very different proposition in the later rounds. He'll settle in. All he wants to do right now is avoid the worst case scenario, avoid a first round exit, avoid any more social media trolling and all this stuff. It's a really, really tough mental spot for him to be in. But if he could just get up there and play even a shadow of his game, I think it'll be enough to beat Steve Lennon, he's been a great servant, Steve Lennon, for Irish darts, but he's going to lose his tour card here, barring a miracle. I think he needs the last 16 to save his tour card. He's not played particularly well for the last couple of years. The odd performance here and there, but you have to say that on all known form, Heta should have too much for him. This would be Damon chucking it away, because if these two met on the floor, Heta would be 4 or 5s on. So this is literally just people playing this angle of Heta on the stage to be there to be taken on. I think the prices have gone a bit too far now, to be honest. I mean, I'd be almost inclined to look at the 3-0 Heta at 3-1 region, but as it is, there's too many uncertainties around this game, so it's another no bet for me. But I will be cheering Heta on, because I really think that he could. People talk about this Littler quarter being a buy for him. I think if Heta wins his first couple of games with a degree of comfort and settles into the tournament, he is a man who could make it awkward for Littler. So we'll see. But it's a no bet there for me. So just to recap my best bets for Friday, the 12th of December at Ali Pali, backing 3 outsiders. I'm going to back Puha to beat Zonneveld 5-2, Mervyn King to beat Ian White at 6-5, Cor Dekker to beat Rob Cross at 9-4, and I'm going to back over 7.5 180s in the Ricky Evans Man Lok Leung game. They're my 4 best bets for Friday at Ali Pali. Let me know what you're backing. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll be back to take a look at Saturday's action in due course. Cheers, guys.